Well, good morning, good afternoon, good morning. Y'all already here and in conversation. Hey, Crystal. Good morning. Good morning, Judith. I'm sorry you got rain. We actually had a really pretty day here. Judith, thank you so much. I got my package, and I'll have to share it with the group. Um, Judith sent me some beautiful gifts. I'll give you a preview of one of them. It's sitting on my desk. I'll share it. Crystal. Yeah, it's cold, but sunny here as well. Crystal's in Virginia Beach. Good Sunday morning to you. Um, oh, thank you, Michelle. I'm excited as well. I'm glad you were able to catch up on the replay, and we missed you. All right. Morning. Hi, Tamara. Welcome. Hi, Star. Linda. It's apparently raining in Florida and California. If you all can keep that rain, we've got sunshine here, so I'm excited about that. Happy Black History Month. What are you all doing for Black History Month? I started a conversation over in the Patreon community um, asking about Black History Month and how we were celebrating, or if we were celebrating. Hey, Rosalind. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Soul Collective. Um, that was the decision last Sunday, so I am excited for you all. Crystal, I have two things to follow up with. Crystal, I have not yet figured out how to connect what we were talking about. I'm not even going to go into the details. I'm still working on it. I just want you to know I haven't forgotten it. I'll be in touch with you. Oh, thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. I will be in touch. I have not forgotten. I want to connect with you. Oh, okay. So Tamara says I got my Black Joy hoodie from Black Men Smile. I'm assuming, as I shared, I support them. I'm so excited to see them in Target or Target getting exposure. All right, Crystal says I'm sharing a few facts all month long on my channel and social media. Very cool. Very cool. Absolutely. Black History Month. Um, absolutely, Michelle. It was, you were missed. Um, my question, Rosalind kicked off my conversation. Rosalind says, I celebrate Black History Month 365 days a year. Um, So that was my question, and kind of the thought when I was kicking off the conversation over in the Patreon community. Is Black History Month for us, or is Black History Month for them? Because I think most of it, for the most part, we celebrate 365 days a year. So that was kind of my thought and my question. And so Crystal is saying exactly, Rosalind. Hey, F.E. Gaskin, good afternoon from Baltimore. Yeah, so Michelle is saying same thing, same thing. Um, I, I don't want to say it's performative, but I think in some ways it's kind of performative and not necessarily for us. It's for them as they like to say, highlight Black voices, do all of those things when they could be doing it 365 days a year. It's always funny to me to, as I shared my support of Black Men Smile and being able to see them in Target, they shared on their page someone who, a white woman, of course, who was angry. She'd gone in Target and saw um, the poster in Target from the Black Men Smile collection, where it says Black Joy is revolutionary, and it's a beautiful little black girl who has on a hoodie, and apparently it disturbed a white woman, and she said she had to hurry up and get out of Target because it was just too much. Um, and it is interesting to me, and I'm using interesting as quote fingers, how disturbed folks are when they aren't centered and don't recognize that all year long they're centered. Uh-oh, trying to put on some lotion and it's flying. They're all year long they're centered, and so different months that are allocated to different races, nationalities. Black History Month in February. I can't remember what month everyone else is. But as soon as somebody else is centered, they're disturbed and not recognizing that that's the norm for us, that we don't see ourselves, and why representation matters, and why it's important to have the Black History Month for them, because it's not necessarily for us, other than for us to see ourselves uh, at a more intensity during this month than we normally do. So that was kind of my question and wondering for the group. Hello, Sheena. Welcome. Hi, Kitty. Good morning. Um, I I appreciate y'all. Linda says, don't forget to like today's segment. Crystal is saying like, sub, share, and support. I appreciate y'all. So Crystal is saying, I used to post daily Black facts. I've been thinking about doing it again. I remember when you did that. And you did it, you said you did it for about 3 years. I remember that because there's so much um, Black history we don't know. Obviously, they don't know. But we don't know it because it wasn't taught. It's so many things where our Black community is responsible for inventing. So many things that have happened in our community that we aren't aware of because it wasn't anything that was taught. In fact, we all know history. The history lessons we've learned were always slanted in another direction, and always the slant was um, to take the edge off of what was a really harsh um, history. Like now, where they are trying to slant it and say that there was some benefit to our community from enslavement. It's like, are y'all really kidding? Are you kidding me right now? Like there was no benefit to us. But trying to make it um, not look so harsh for their perspective of how awful it actually was. So that piece is interesting to me, that people are still disturbed when they're not centered and don't have a real clue of what it is like to be a person of color, a Black person, moving through this world and not seeing yourself on a regular. So anyway, Michelle says, I used to post on Facebook throughout the year. I'm not on Facebook as much right now. Crazy schedule. Yeah, Facebook, and I mean the posting, trying to keep up will suck you in for sure. So I get that for sure. Crystal says, I appreciate y'all. Crystal has challenged you all to get 100% likes. Everybody on like the video. I appreciate y'all so much. Um, Michelle is saying they wanted to boycott Target for having a Black Santa. I think I missed that, but I'm definitely not surprised. It is so like how for how long has Santa, I mean, and it's an imaginary character. How long has he been white? And how it's like the Disney movies when they try to use a character, or when they actually try to represent the character in their right color, their right race, or when they change the race of a character, an imaginary character, and people are so bent out of shape because they have always seen that character as white, and they can't imagine anything else, and they can't understand what it's like to not be centered, and how much it bothers them. Just insanity. March is Women History Month. Thank you. I probably should have a calendar somewhere, and but I don't. I know when it kicks off, like my phone calendar does tell me. So Women's History Month, and we have Hispanic National Hispanic Month. Like they're um, targeted throughout the year, but we all know that people are celebrating their heritage and who they are, year round. It's just an interesting concept that um, it's not all we're not all celebrated as much as we should be throughout the year. Um, KC says, I saw an article stating that Target has to remove a children's book because it misidentified Booker T and W.E.B. Du Bois. Um, I'm not surprised. You see that all the time, where people, um, yeah, they are interesting. Kitty, I'm hoping that you're not. Kitty, I missed where you live. Someone was asking. Oh, Kitty is in San Diego. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I did see the bad flooding in that area. I do hope that you are safe and no more flooding. Um, Absolutely. Yeah, rewriting history is wild AF. It is. It is. When I saw the comment in the conversation that there was some benefit to enslavement for us, it was just like I I don't want to understand how those people think, because then you'd have to be able to understand insanity, and I don't ever want to understand insanity. But it is like I sometimes want to understand if that is just them putting on for their constituents, if they're a politician, or if it's something that they really truly believe. And that part is the piece that I want to know. Like if you're just doing it for likes and conversation, that's one thing. But if you absolutely believe that, is where the insanity is. Um, okay, so KC says I hit send by mistake. In photos in the book, I believe a Black history teacher pointed it out on social media. Target removed the book from its shelves. I wonder who created the book and where it was um, the misidentification happened. I guess I'm wondering if it was a Black person. That's interesting. Who? Absolutely, Kitty. We are Black History 365. I think yeah, I'm gonna move my camera a little bit and put this back in there. Black History made fresh daily. We are. Absolutely. We are Black History. We're making our Black History daily. I agree with that. 365. Good to see you too, Kitty. Thank you. Um, yes, Little Mermaid. Like, and I think what cracks me up is when they want to do the boycotts and they get all bent out of shape, and it's like just don't go. Like, just don't go. I mean, that's something we deal with all the time. I always get ready to call out something from a religious perspective, but I'm going to leave that alone. When you when you read your Bible and understand who lived where in what lands and what people had to look like we can't even have those conversations because they really lose it then. But anyway, it's all right, Michelle. I understood. Understood. Oh, Judith, thank you. Thank you. So this is an old pair. I think I've worn them before. If you I like I'm in the old age struggle with glasses and my vision. Um, I might have shared that before. My vision, I've never had to wear glasses prior to getting older. My vision isn't really bad, but apparently it's harder to correct vision when it's not bad and your brain is used to seeing very well than it is when you've had bad vision. And as I understand it, your brain is just happy to be able to see. And so I stay in the struggle with contacts and glasses and all of the things. So thank you very much, Judith. I appreciate that. Hey, Robert. Robert said he wanted to say hello. He can't stay. We'll miss you. We might even talk about you when you leave. Have a good day. I hope you are well. Um, Crystal says they always changing things we don't care about or didn't ask for. Reparations. Yeah, like really, like let's talk about that. Like, don't y'all can keep the month of February and give us our reparations. Um, absolutely. So I agree with you. Um, okay, so Michelle is saying last night I watched a segment on YouTube about a black woman who went from homeless to van life. Interesting. Um, I've seen that several times, but probably not specifically the segment that you're speaking to. Um, thank you, Robert. I'm not laughing, Michelle, obviously, about what you said. I'm laughing at Robert's comment. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. Um, it is, as we've spoken about, and I'm transitioning from my conversation now to Michelle's comment. Um, the working poor and the unhoused who um, are often the working poor. Or um, I've just recently tried to help someone who had um, an addiction and trying to get them help, and just um, the learnings for me and what that looks like, and trying to find facilities, and um, how frustrating that must be for people who actually have the addiction, because um, there were multiple facilities. I think as I was trying to get this person some assistance, we went to 5 facilities, and in dealing with um, poor customer service, like just being ignored, standing there, and someone's standing there talking but never acknowledging you, not having resources to help, or being told make an appointment, come back. And I'm thinking, I'm pushing this, and I have the ability to take this person from place to place to place. But somebody who is in the throes of addiction, who doesn't have that mental capacity and tenacity to do so, is stuck and doesn't have resources. And oftentimes, the unhoused are dealing with mental health issues and substance abuse issues that lead them to being unhoused. And then the um, people who are the working poor, who actually work, have full-time jobs, but can't afford housing, that lead them in that direction. And it is one of the main things for me, and why tiny houses make so much sense, and bring so much opportunity, and the advocacy work that just um, brings me so much joy in knowing that there's so much opportunity to impact change. And yeah, that's a big that's a big issue. That's a big issue. Casey says, Casey says, I discovered my parents were Santa when I was 3 by peeking under the door. I think my parents were relieved. I remember my dad joking, no, no white Santas bring gifts to this house. Let's clarify that. Let's get that straight right now. Whose money is going where? Hilarious. Um, good, Kitty. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, Day. Hey, Day. No worries. Better late than never. We're happy to have you. Thank you, Crystal. Um, yes, Rosalind. So I was just saying about people who just say the wild things, like the enslavement benefited black people, and Rosalind is saying they're playing in our faces. They don't really believe half of what they say. I don't. I wonder that. I don't believe they believe it either, but it enrages people, and it gets so many new followers who want to believe dumb things like that, and want to be angry. Um, what is it? The was it Edgar Hoover? I don't want to misrepresent a quote, but it said give the poor white man someone to hate, versus them understanding that they really should be um, angry with the institutions that keep them poor, the upper percentages that have the money, but instead if you give them someone to hate as in a black person and make them feel like the black person or the Hispanic is taking their money or taking their jobs, and you distract them with that type of nonsense, and then they don't recognize that it's really the small percentages of people who are rich and wealthy who are taking their money that they really should be hating, and working then with the black and brown people to to collaborate so that we can all work together for better, because we're all getting the raw end of the deal. Hey Key, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Um, Michelle is saying exactly. Don't buy or read the book. Don't go to the movie. Like if you're so angry, we're talking about how folks get so angry when they feel like they are not represented, even though they're centered all the time. Just don't go. So yeah, like I mean, that's what we do. Oftentimes, when it's something that I just don't want to see, it's just too much for my for like I want to see representation. I don't want to continue to see the same old stories and never see anybody in the story that looks like me. I don't go. I don't support it. And they can learn to do the same. Um, absolutely, all day, every day, all day, every day. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle said I'll go there. Um, no, he was not. No, he was not. And that is the thing that I just, it they can't fathom that they aren't the the prototype for everything. No, you're not. That's not, he wasn't. So whatever. Um, Crystal's husband got some new glasses. All right. Um Uh, F.E. Gaskin is saying, I remember being so angry when I found out about the Tulsa massacre as an old ass adult, not learning about it as part of our history in public school or college. There's so much we haven't learned. And as a plug, let me put this plug um, in the chat. That is part of what we are going to explore in the Patreon community. The things like that community, especially things that have impacted our opportunities for community and for generational wealth. Those are the conversations we're going to explore there. So join us in Patreon. I did schedule a plug for Patreon. I did schedule, we are going to start having monthly conversations, and it'll kick off February the 14th, Valentine's Day, just because I love y'all. Um, Monthly conversations, and those are the things that we'll discuss and explore in community there. So join us in Patreon if you aren't already there. Um, Let me see. Um, Casey, absolutely. They're always giving us a holiday instead of the reparations that we're asking for. Give us our money. Just give us our money. And the thing about it is when you see those conversations online, and so many people are upset that we'd ask for reparations, and they say, well, you all weren't enslaved. Our ancestors were, and the impact of enslavement in for our communities and the ripple effect and the impact generation after generation, and the impact to our DNA. Um, we're due reparations, and other communities have been given reparations, and no one has the length of enslavement, the hundreds of years of enslavement. No other race has endured anything like that, and yet the conversation around reparations is something that they just can't fathom. Um, yeah, it's mind blowing to me. Oh, you're fine, Michelle. I appreciated that. Um, I think it all goes together. So no, you didn't break the flow. I appreciate that. And Crystal is saying we will always have to learn our history outside of the pitiful public school system. Library and Google are free. See if you can access libraries on campuses, even if you read in the building. Yes, the and Google is an amazing resource as well. Libraries for sure. It is something that we have to do in our own communities for our children, because if we depend on them to teach us the things about us, and they're not going to. I watched this um, beautiful, beautiful. I'm probably going to share it on my Instagram channel. It was a mashup of Mark Lamont. Is his last name Hill? I think that's his last name. And Cat Williams, talking about our who we are as a people, and how it's always been for them, it's always been known who we are as a people and our greatness, which is why they've worked so hard for to put things in place like making it illegal for us to learn to read. um but and the um Mark Lamont was saying how um I just have to share it. Like, I don't want to do it an injustice, but the piece that stuck out for me so much was he was speaking to how white supremacy and racism will say that we're ignorant, that and during the time of enslavement, that we were not able to read. We were so dumb that we couldn't read, but yet they went so far as to add laws that it was illegal for us to read. So if you it's like that, so that's a contradiction. If you believe that we're ignorant and we can't read, then why would you need to go and add laws to make it illegal for us to read? It's one or the other. But the core piece of that is they knew we were very intelligent. They knew our capacity. And so while they were saying this propaganda, that's what it was, propaganda. Well, on the backside of it, they absolutely understood that our greatness, and that propaganda on the front end is what has caused so much damage, because the negative propaganda, as it's repeated over and over, it's some of the things that we have began to believe about ourselves, and some of it still is causing harm to our community today. I think I'll share that on Instagram today. But it is absolutely important for us to learn and read, and surround ourselves with um, the things that help us understand our greatness, our past greatness, our future opportunity of greatness, and that is the thing that will help us and our community immensely. Yes, that's exactly right. Crystal is saying even following dope social influencers that specialize in history works. Absolutely. Hey, Teresa, I hope you are well. We're glad you're joining us. KC is saying, be careful of what you ask for, KC. They might give it to you, but want to tax you big time on it. Absolutely. They're going to tax and reparations hard. Um, absolutely. But, okay. I'm gonna leave that one alone. All right, Crystal is saying 30 watching. Do we have 30 likes? Crystal says like, sub, share, and support. Absolutely, please do. Um, Hey, Kathy, thank you for joining. Good to see you here. Okay, Day, I'm glad you came back and updated your comment, because I wasn't sure what you were saying. I taught criminal justice and law studies at high school and college for 20 years. I had to stop showing Black documentaries during the month of February during the last year of my teaching career. That's interesting. When you had to stop, I'm thinking it sounds like someone required that you stop. Um, yeah, interesting. Yes. So Crystal was saying keeping poor whites mad at BIPOCs allow the rich to rob us all. Absolutely. That was that. I know you're speaking to my comment earlier. Instead of us understanding, we're all getting the raw end of the deal when we look at people who hold the majority of the wealth. the thought that we're taking from poor people, jobs or opportunities, is what has allowed the wealthy to continue to begin to become wealthy. So yeah, absolutely. Uh, right, Rosalind. Like how y'all benefiting from this as well? Like it should be selective people, absolutely, and they have no idea of what it's about, um, and would be mad about it, other than the fact that they get a day off, and so they're gonna take the day off, but absolutely, are not happy about Juneteenth and the meaning behind it. Yep, 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 yep. Um, oh, thank you, Diamond. I appreciate that. This is the thing that brings me so much joy, being able to share in community, to talk, um, about the things that can impact and change our community. Lord knows we need some um, opportunity in our community. So thank you. I appreciate that. I think the um where I feel like where I have the opportunity to give, I also receive so much in the community that shows up, and so I thank you. um Casey is asking Dave the same question: why did you have to stop? Thank you, Crystal. um Teresa saying, I think that everyone trying to remove Black history as our history, so as not to support us, as our history are so not supporting us. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. um Crystal is saying generations of people are still benefiting from our ancestors' sweat, blood, and lives. I mean, if you go back, and they hate to have these conversations, but all of the financial institutions, the banks that are have were started in their financial foundation is enslavement. And they, every once in a while, they come back and throw something out to the community, or somebody calls them out on that fact. They will try to issue a statement, but absolutely, the entire country is founded on the backs of our ancestors. The entire country, and the system itself is founded on enslavement, which is why it works so negatively against us in our community. Um, yes. Also, removing grave sites for us to make room for progress is insulting to us. Yeah, so when they, and Teresa, I know you're saying it happened here in Charlotte, when they go in and decide this in an area that they want to build, a community on, and it was an old grave site, is absolutely disrespectful, and but always done, in, as you're saying, in the name of progress. And um, people are who don't care about that type of thing and don't care about our community are always going to get behind it. And they'll, sometimes they'll hold a little ceremony and that kind of stuff and feel like they are placating the community, but it is all done disrespectfully. Um, yeah, yes, 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 yes. Um, Michelle is saying, when my children and older grands were younger, I used to look high and low for books by Black authors. I found a soft doll with an afro and dressed in African attire. I bet that was beautiful. I think that is, for me, one of the things that bring me so much joy, is that we now have, and children now have, so much more access to stories that represent us and represent them, and stories, so they can see themselves, and the conversations are about things that allow them to be centered in the stories, and that is so so important, um, and something that I think is just beautiful for the younger generation. Key is saying it starts with self too. My journey started at 8 years old. I asked my mom, where are all the black kings and queens? And she told me in this place called Africa. I devoured everything black culture then. Absolutely. And that's beautiful that your mom encouraged that conversation and your exploration. That's beautiful. Yes, Effie, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Um, Happy Sunday, Allison. Happy Sunday. Good afternoon. Hi, Kina. Very nice to have you. Welcome to the community. Um, we are, this is one of our community conversations where we talk about a little bit of everything. Oh, I said I was going to share, so I wanted to share. So I have, can you see this? Can you, let's see. I, I meant to get some of the other ones. Y'all just hold on. I'll be right back. All right. I think y'all can see these beautiful stones. I said I was going to share. Aren't they gorgeous? So when I was in in Cali, um someone had gifted. So when I was in Cali, visiting, um when I was it what month was that? Now y'all know my brain is not helping me much these days. Was it October? No, November. It was right before Thanksgiving. Now that part I remember. So when I was visiting Dominique and got to visit, and I think it was in the video that I shared, got to visit her tiny house. Someone had um, left a whole bunch of beautiful stones at her tiny house, and she had like a planter around the tiny house, and it was beautiful. Um, Different stones just like these. And Judith, I don't know if you all remember, Judith came over to visit me that afternoon, and I was remarking how beautiful they were, and the ones that were left, they were huge as well. And I was like, I know somebody spent some money on those stones. And so I got a package in the mail, and Judith sent me um those beautiful, um I know, um I'm not exactly sure what all of them are. Um, like this one, I'm not exactly sure. I got to do some research. I just got the package yesterday, so I got to do some research. But thank you so much, Judith. They're gorgeous. I am looking forward to having them here in my home. Yes, they're gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Um, um, oh, thank you, Golda. Um, they are gorgeous, gorgeous, and huge. I've never seen, so I already had some small ones. So like this is the same stone. I already had a small one here. I've never seen these large ones locally where I could purchase them, and I imagine um that they were a nice little penny. So Judith, I thank you so much. I'm excited to have them here. Um, Hi, R. Welcome from California. I was just speaking about California. Um, um, let's see. I missed some. I'm trying to go back and look at the chat because I know I missed some conversation. Thank you, Crystal, for welcoming the newbies. Um, yes, Effie, we did say that there were some reparations paid, and we've not been able to get ours. Um, so Teresa is asking how I'm feeling. I feel pretty good. I had a neurology appointment. So for those of you who don't know, I suffered a TIA, or a mini stroke as it's known, December the 23rd. Um, One of the most terrifying things ever. Fortunately for me, so I had all of the symptoms of a stroke, and I had learned the symptoms of a stroke thinking I might need to know them for the elders in my family, not necessarily knowing that I would need to know them for myself. But um, in every Saturday afternoon around 1 o'clock, I think it's like my body is kind of reminding me. Um, um, so I had all of the symptoms except for the drooping face. I lost complete control of the left side of my body and was kind of stuck, like I couldn't move myself. And I was kind of stuck like that for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then it broke, and I was able to call and get some help. And I'm very grateful for that. Um, I have had so far a neurology follow up. Um, One of the things that I talked about a couple of weeks ago was the importance of advocating for yourself, because going through this process, kind of just like what I was saying about trying to help someone who has an addiction. Like if you don't have the wherewithal or the means or the time and capacity to advocate for yourself, you kind of SOL. And so that has been something that has um, stuck out so much for me during this time period. But I um, did have an appointment 2 weeks ago with a neurologist, really good guy. He sent me for a bunch of tests because his comment was that instead of just, basically, instead of just putting me on medication for the rest of my life to ensure I don't have additional blood clots, he really wants to get to the bottom of why I have why I had the blood clots, and I've had blood clots in my lungs before. So he was looking at it holistically, and sent me for a whole bunch of tests. So far, the bulk of the tests have come back negative for any problems. The only one that did come back with something was that I have a very severe deficiency in my vitamin B. So I'm working on that. And that's interesting because it has a lot to do with heart health. It also has a lot to do with brain health and memory. One of the things that I have shared, and what I was sharing here, is I do notice a change in my memory. I also noticed a change in my word recall, um, which is kind of frustrating. But it is what it is. And I'll keep working through it and doing the things to try to exercise my brain. Um, um, but I'm good. Tomorrow I have a cardiologist appointment, and we'll review all of those tests. And the only thing different that um, originally where I was saying the advocacy is important, sorry y'all, um, is some doctors are really focused on medication and just taking medication, and that's the answer. And then you get some doctors who are really focused on how do we, is there a way to fix what's going on versus just medicine being the answer. Sorry, y'all. And with that, my conversation with the neurologist, he shared. So I also shared that in this process, I discovered that I have what is called a PFO, which is, and I'm not going to remember all of the words that that acronym represents, but it represents a small hole that I have in my heart. Everybody has it when you're in the womb. It's how your heart gets blood flow. And then once you're born and you start breathing in oxygen, that hole closes up. And it closes up between like 6 to 12 months for most people, but for 1 in 4 people, it does not. And you won't know that yours hasn't closed up unless you suffer a heart disease or a heart attack or a stroke or some type of problem. And that is what happened with me. And mine was aggravated by job stress. And that's how I learned via a stroke that I had this thing of, 50 plus years old and have never known I had this thing. And so the conversation with the neurologist was that, as he shared, that I had been told before that the surgery to close that hole was very intense. And the neurologist shared that it is not as intense as it used to be. And that might be something that the cardiologist and I would want to consider versus me being on medication for the rest of my life. And so that's part of the conversation that I'll have tomorrow. And I'm kind of really interested in that um, opportunity more now because every time I feel something happening in my chest, I kind of am anxious and on alert, and I don't want to be on alert all the time. So that's a conversation that I'll have tomorrow and see how that goes. But thank you for asking. Um, sorry, y'all. Y'all know I um. All right. Let me get myself together. Uh, thank y'all. Thank you for asking. Judith is saying there are some that were 3 feet tall and beautiful. They were in all colors. They would have to be hand delivered because weight is, and you are welcome. Oh, thank you, Judith. I'm gonna have to, when I come back over there, I want you to take me to the place where you got them because these are gorgeous. I've not seen any this large here. So thank you. Um, Key is asking, how can we purchase the Soul Collective t-shirts? Okay, so let me drop that link. Thank you, Key, for that segue. You can get you some merchandise here, um, or you can join Patreon. And I dropped that link. I've dropped that again. And if you are in one of the tiers, after 4 months, I will send you um, a Soul Collective T-shirt as your anniversary gift. Um, so there's always that. But I did drop the link. Thank you for asking. Would love for you to join us in community. Um, okay, so I'm missing some stuff. Let me go back. Um, yes, amethyst. That's what Michelle. I couldn't get my word because I have amethyst here, and I couldn't come up with my word. I did know that this was that, and this is um, what I wear here. Um, let's see. I think this. I think this one is citrine. I need to look it up. I think it's got some yellow markings in it. I really think this is citrine, but I'm not 100% sure, but I gotta look it up. Um, let's see. Um, right, Rosalind. Right. They absolutely were because they felt like they lost money when enslavement stopped. And so they were able to receive compensation from the government because they lost money because they could no longer enslave us. But we can't get reparations. Thank you, Crystal. I I really like my transparency around my experience. I don't want anybody to have to experience that if they don't have to. Um, it was terrifying. So I'm sharing. Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. Um, no, no. Crystal is saying you had traveled a bit. Maybe that causes the blood clot. So no, um, with the stroke, I hadn't traveled recently. Like there's a cutoff from the time period of travel where it would impact the blood clot. So at neither time had I traveled close enough to um for that to be a cause. The stroke, I had already the interesting thing is I went to the doctor the beginning of March to tell him that something was happening with my heart. I felt a flutter in my chest during my work day. Um, I was calling it a flutter. I knew it was anxiety, stress related from my work day because that was the only time that it would happen. Um, and what should have happened at that time is my primary care should have sent me for some further testing. Instead, he just listened and said that my heart was fine when it wasn't. And what was happening was that PBO, that hole, the blood was being activated during stress, and instead of going, blood goes out of your heart and gets oxygen and comes back in, but instead this I have a right to left shunt that's happening where blood will move from right to left in my heart, and that was a clot that went to my brain um, during the stroke. So that is the PBO, that is the hole that speaking of. Um, Thank you, RR. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Crystal is saying, do the fruit feast. I have had the best experience eating only fruits for all of January. Okay, I need to talk about that. I need to think about that and talk to you about it. Thank you, Star. I love y'all too. Thank you. Um, thank you. That's good to know, Crystal. I'm glad that it happened for you. Casey says you need to wear compression socks every time you travel long distances and are sitting for long periods of time. Absolutely. I have a pair in my bag that's sitting right here. I have done that for many years since I did have the blood clots in my lungs. I had blood clots in my lungs in 2007. In 2007 blood clots, I really, at that time, we really thought they were due to one of those um, birth controls that I was taking. They did do some testing and couldn't figure out anything else at that time that would have caused them, and I had bunches of them in both of my lungs. Another time I almost killed myself because I had them, and it's one of the reasons that I advocate so much for paying attention and listening to your body, because I had them for like 3 days and I was in severe pain, and but I thought I had pulled a muscle and I was trying to stretch out the muscle instead of going to the doctor. And the doctor was very clear once I got there that I should have been deceased because one of those blood clots could have killed me. And I had bunches of them in both of my lungs, and most people don't um, make it with one. So I am very cautious in traveling with compression socks, and standing up and ensuring that I'm paying attention. So yeah, I know exactly what you were saying. Thank you. Um, Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Um, Michelle is saying, I'm sure you will do your research on what's best for you. Your neurologist sounds good for you. Getting vitamin B in your body, you can do. Good report. Give yourself grace. It will take time. Yes, I was very pleased with the neurologist. He was on it. He ordered probably about 20 tests, things, and he said, several times, this should have already been done. This should have already been done. And it hadn't been done. So I appreciated him for getting it done, and also um, calling things out for me in things that I need to be asking for and paying more attention to. Thank you, Rosalind. So um, I also am doing these things, going to these doctors, but I also am setting up an appointment with a holistic doctor because I also want to understand other options that I can be following to make sure I'm taking care of me and my health. That's important to me. Um, Judith, Judith said, "No need to apologize, and besides, just think what Robert would say if you started." Thank you, thank you, Judith. As you see, that made me laugh. Thank you. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. So Judith is saying the rock place is in Quartzsite, Arizona, where I went camping. That makes a whole bunch of sense now. Thank you so much. I so appreciate these. These are gorgeous. Now I have to go to Arizona because you all know I love a good trip. So, thank you. Thank you, Pat. I got this necklace and I cannot remember the artist's name. I got this necklace 2 years ago at a Juneteenth festival in Maryland, and the woman had some beautiful, beautiful. Well, I got the I don't know if you call it a charm, the stone, the wrap here at the festival, and I cannot find her information again because I would love to have some more pieces. So I think I'm gonna have to go to the in that area and try to find her again. Um, Crystal is saying you need to charge your crystals outside in the moonlight on new moons and full moons and significant moon phases. Absolutely. So I sage them and am paying attention because I sit them in my windows, my other stones for that charging. So thank you for the reminder. Absolutely intend to do that. Um, Day is saying God will guide you to make the right decision regarding your health. You are already winning by being informed and on top of it. Thank you for your transparency. You just reminded me to take my B12. Um, so our vitamin deficiencies. I can honestly share I have been in a brain fog for some time, and I felt like part of it was, and I'm sure it was, part of it is I am at a level a level of sharing post menopause, and brain fog is part of all of that as you start navigating all of those spaces, but not recognizing that a big portion of it is probably to um, a severe B vitamin deficiency, and I mean it was um, a high deficiency. So I am hoping and praying that some of this can be reversed, and will help me also with my word recall now. Um, uh, Michelle is saying it's important to get your proteins, or that causes other problems and deficiencies. Also, even though it's natural, it's still a lot of sugar. Yeah. Um, And Teresa is saying, yeah, women of color have low B vitamin numbers when they get older. The absorption is lower. All the things that we have to know and think through. Thank you, Effie. I appreciate that. Um, Rosalind is saying that the Depo-Provera causes blood clots. I was actually using one of the, I don't know if you remember years ago, the Seasonique and Seasonal. They've been discontinued because they cause blood clots, and so I was, I believe, impacted by that again in 2007. Michelle is asking, what did you decide with your job, if I may ask? You absolutely may ask. I am on leave right now, and I am still in the decision-making process. You all know where my heart is, and so trying to figure out how to navigate those spaces, and to figure out what that looks like. That's a conversation we'll have over in our Patreon community, because it is something that I am working. I just had this conversation with a girlfriend yesterday where I'm trying not to cause myself anxiety, but I'm really pushing, trying to figure out what that looks like, and but at the same time not push to figure out what it looks like, because I want to be led, but when you're so used to controlling and pushing and doing those things, it's hard to sit and let the faith guide. Like I've always, as a single mom, I had to figure the things out because I had a child to feed, and so that is the way my energy operates, in trying to figure out all the things. And I'm trying really hard to sit and be guided, and there I'm in a struggle right now. So y'all pray for me to figure that out, and to learn how to sit in faith a little bit more. So thank you. Thanks for asking. Hey Keisha. Thank you, thank you. I received that love. Um okay, so Teresa is saying when I pair my B vitamins with D3, they absorb better. I need to look that up. I don't understand pairing. Um hmm. I know you'll tell me on in Messenger. So um, the pairing, I've heard Geritol too. I've heard that for many years. I would not take it when I was younger, because I also know that they've always said that Geritol also makes you very fertile. Now I don't have to worry about that, so maybe I need to look back into. And I know what you meant, Teresa. Maybe I need to look back into Geritol, CMOS. Yes, I need to write that down because I keep looking at CMOS and then I never order it. Um, if you have a recommendation, I'll take it. Um, um, okay, Michelle saying my neurologist was the same for me. Yeah, the interesting thing is, so the interesting and sad thing is I've asked for some referrals for some doctors from my people on Facebook, and one of the doctors, a cardiologist that came highly recommended, she doesn't have any appointments until 2025. And I was like, oh my God, that just means there are a lot of people who are needing help and are in this medical system, and that's it's scary and it's sad. Yeah. Um Sedona, Arizona is great for crystals, jewelry like you wear, and it's a vortex, a beautiful place. I love Arizona, so I need to go back and visit. Um, yes, Michelle, thank you. I am absolutely looking at a holistic doctor. Um, um, so there's a good conversation going on about being a fruitarian. I think I said that right. Maybe we'll have a conversation about that. Um, Casey is saying a new medical study has determined that higher levels of vitamin D were associated with better cognitive function. You can Google the study. They are now recommending it for dementia patients. Okay, so that goes back to the pairing that Teresa was just talking about. All right, so I'm making y'all know I'm making some notes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I have seen that as well, because we're not involved in the studies, and so um, we're not. Some of the information that comes across is not actually accurate for communities of color. Um, okay, so Crystal is going to be sharing her experience on her channel later in the month. So Crystal, remind us when you're doing that so that we can all be aware and tune in. Um, Rosalind is talking about the Geritol. Yeah. Yes. Um, I remember that. They're like, be careful, you will get pregnant. Take us some Geritol. Oh, hilarious. Robert's name has come up several times. Hilarious. Thank you, Casey. Um, thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. Okay, so pairing, just taking them together. I don't have to do anything. That's what I was wondering. Was it that simple? Thank you, Golda. Or if I needed to do something differently. Um, hey, Sadiq, that's okay. We're gonna wrap up, but welcome. Glad to see you in the chat. Um, oh, cool. So Rosalind says she makes her own sea moss and dehydrates it to preserve it. You go, Rosalind. That is impressive. Okay, so Crystal is recommending we do 30 days of just fruit. I'm looking forward to your conversation that you're gonna have around that. Um, Teresa says she had blood clots in 2009 when she was hospitalized for Crohn's, but later found out I didn't have it. It was very humbling for me. I'm glad that you don't. Um, a cousin of mine had Crohn's, and it was um, challenging for him for sure. Um, okay, Rosalind, thank you. I think you're talking to me. Um, interesting. All right. Crystal, okay, so let me see if I can find Crystal's channel while we're talking so I can drop the link in here and then we are stop video. Um I think she said she couldn't drop the channel because she wasn't allowed to uh drop link. So let me do it right now. Um uh-oh. Okay, let me drop it. Wait a minute, this must be your old channel, Crystal, because I don't see uh this is, do you have, okay, Crystal, before I drop this link, tell me if you have two channels because this one I see old stuff. I'm not sure if you have a second channel. Tell me if you do, and then I can drop the link for that one. Um, I think this is the right one. There you go. That's the link to her channel. Um, let's see. Rosalind says she's moving toward pescatarian. That's really what I have been trying to focus on. I don't always do it at 100%, but I do eat mostly um, fish. I don't eat beef and haven't eaten pork for many, many years. And I do try to eat mostly fish. Even though you got to be careful with that as well. It's just so much. Um, no, Judith, I didn't take I didn't take it that way at all. You knew I was gonna laugh if you said Robert's name. Kitty is saying, thank you again for sharing your journey with us. We've been taught to keep on pushing despite the pain. We only get one mind, body, and soul, and we must protect all three. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. We've got to do the work to protect ourselves. Um, um, Yes, okay, so I dropped the right channel. I knew you had two channels. I dropped the right channel. Um, all right. Oh yes, this is the right channel because there's the cat. Um, okay, so Deke is saying unrelated, but I'm thinking about doing a band conversion before going the tiny house route. Um, Excellent idea. Um, we've had several guests on to talk about vans, their van life. I'll share some links for van life. Crystal did van life for many, many years. I'll drop some of the links in the chat to reference for reference for you, Sadiq. Um, and that's a excellent way to get started. And then by the time you build your tiny house, you'll feel like you're moving into a mansion because you've navigated van life, and so you'll be all ready for your tiny house. That's a beautiful way to get started and to see the country. Absolutely, I support that 100%. Um, Okay, so Rosin says, I haven't eaten beef or pork in 30 years. I eat lamb occasionally for the benefits to red blood cells to fight anemia. I have not been able to bring myself to eat lamb. I always think about the poor little lambs, even though um, I eat other animals. It's just I haven't been able to. It's something like I haven't eaten deer. Yeah, so some of those things. But it makes sense to fight anemia. Absolutely, Sadiq. I will drop some stuff for you. All right, good people. It is 1:12. Again, I am going to drop the link for Patreon. Um, Join us. We're gonna dive deeper into some community conversations over there. Um, I remember that the Tiny House Festival is coming up um, here in the Charlotte area. April 13th and 14th. I am working on the speakers. I had a link. Let me share that. Um, let's see. I'm gonna share my screen real fast. Y'all know what? I realized I didn't even do my intro here today, so I'm definitely got to do my outro. I just started talking to y'all. Um, okay, so this is the Carolina Tiny Home Festival. It is here, Concord, North Carolina, which is right outside of Charlotte, April 13th and 14th. We are still pulling all of the planning together. You can register. Um, you can be a sponsor. You can bring your home if you're a dweller, vendor, all of the things. I am working on the speaker lineup and am Key. Have a great day. And so I have already said this will be one of the most diverse, one of the most diverse speaker lineups you have seen in the tiny house movement because that is my thing. Representation matters. It's the thing that I have been pushing against others in this um, community in being sure they're diverse and inclusive in their speaker lineup as well as in the content. And so that is what we will be doing here. So please join us. I just dropped the link for the festival. And so if you're able to join us, if you're in the area or able to travel to join us, would love to have you here. Um, all right. Let me see if it's anything else. Hi, Maisha. Um, Maisha says she's been watching a ton of van lifers here on YouTube. Oh, okay. So Keys, no chicken, turkey, Fish occasionally. No pork or beef in 30 years. No chicken, turkey, fish since 2013. Fish occasionally. That's what I'm trying to do. Michelle eats lots of vegetable, legumes, fruit, some fish, organic, free range chicken periodically. The interesting thing for me, I would eat chicken occasionally, but down here in this rural area, there are actually two um, chicken plants nearby, and sometimes the smell is so terrible. It has really turned me against chicken, and I apologize. I'm not trying to turn y'all against chicken. I don't know what the smell is, but sometimes it is just horrific. And it has been one of the things I feel like it's like people who work in fast food industry and then they decide they're not eating fast food anymore. I feel like that's what has happened here for me. Um let's see. All right, I'm gonna do my closeout and oh, you're very welcome, Crystal. Explain the Patreon platform. So let me do I have Patreon up on my I do. It's a membership platform. Um, it is, let's see. Let me share the page. All right, sorry. I lost my mouse on the page here. Um, this is Patreon. The link that I've dropped. There's some membership platforms. There's a free platform where we'll engage in conversation, but then there's some membership platforms where we there's some different offerings, and so everyone can participate in the post and messages in the private community. But then there's also some add-ons for the different memberships, where I mentioned the live conversations and Q&As. Those are going to be, they kick off on February the 14th. It'll be the second Wednesday of each month. The benefit for Patreon is that these are can be more in-depth conversations, more private conversations that we can have versus the YouTube conversation that is access to everyone. It's also going to be via Microsoft Teams, so we can actually, if you want to be on camera and want to speak and participate in the conversation, you can do so as well. So that will be a bit of a difference. And so I want to do some deep dives into community history conversations, some of the things that we want to have some deeper, more in-depth conversations. That's where we will have these conversations. And then there's also a live stream that's accessible for the soul to soul 3 tier. And that is where I also mentioned at the 3 month anniversary, you'll get a Soul Collective t-shirt as a gift from me for participating in the community. And you also, as this higher tier, have after 4 months of membership, you get a discounted opportunity to connect and chat, a phone call, if you're interested in connecting with me for a brief consultation. That's an offering as well. So this is the Patreon community. If you are interested in joining, I would love to have you join the community. All right, let's see. Um, where can you stay for the Tiny House Festival? So I think that has been added for, let me see. I think I'm pretty sure that was being added to the site. I don't see it on the site right now. I'll remind Kim. There's a host hotel. There are two host hotels. And there is a discount associated with the host hotel. So I will remind Kim to add that to the site. I don't see it on the site right now. Um, so I'll be sure there that information is added to the site. There are some hotels right in the area. And if you are a dweller, want to bring your home, you can do that as well. Kitty, see you there. I don't know if it's Patreon or at the festival or both, but I hope to have hope to see you somewhere soon. Um, Day is asking, is it live? Um, I'm not sure. The Patreon. So there are some lives there. What I was just sharing, the monthly conversation will be a live conversation, and then there is going to be a live stream um, within that community. Um, Maisha is saying that will do it. I do not like to handle raw chicken, so I don't usually cook or eat it. Yeah, the smell is so bad sometimes when I ride through there, and I'm just like, how that's associated somehow with chicken, and I don't want any parts of it. So um, yeah. Um, thank you, Michelle. Yes, there are multiple tiers that you can choose from, and the tiers outline exactly the offering for each of the tiers. So Teresa said, Teresa got right to the point. Teresa said, Patreon is how I can make money so I can stop working for the man and work with us. Absolutely. Please support my ventures. I obviously intend to bring you all value, but absolutely, please support that. I appreciate that so much. Um, yes, thank you. All right. Crystal has encouraged you all to hit like before you go. Please share the video. I forgot that I didn't do my opening. We just jumped in the conversation, so I appreciate you all for being here for us to jump into conversation. Thank you, Judith. You be safe as well. Everybody have a good day. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Teresa says she can't eat Bambi or Peter Cottontail either. Me neither. Alligator. I'm not. And then the funny thing for me is everybody always says after they eat it, it tastes just like chicken. Well, then just go eat some chicken. I'm not doing. I'm not doing that. Michelle, I look forward to meeting you. I'm excited that you'll be able to join us. Okay, I'm going to do my closeout, especially since I didn't do it coming in. Thank you all so much for joining as you always do. I really, really appreciate you all so much. Um, Here we go. Okay, Kitty's coming to the festival. Yay, Kitty, I look forward to meeting you. This is our community conversation segment. This is Miss Bohemian Soul TV, the Creating Home Tiny House series. Every Sunday, I am offering live content. I alternate between conversations, this community conversation, what's your question, where I'm focusing specifically on a tiny house question that we're talking through, and then our conversations on intimate spaces where we have a guest, like we had a guest last week. Um, what I want to do here is be able to provide some value to you all, offer some conversations around tiny houses and subjects that allow us to see ourselves represented in this movement, and answer some of our questions so we can too be part of this movement. I hope that if you found this information or the video, the conversation helpful, you'll like it, you'll share it, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on the notifications. Um, and yes, Michelle, I'm tripping. Um, I'm doing too much. Yes, you were here at the community conversation. You were right, and I know that. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing you again. So you're driving into the area because you don't live that far. Um, I'm looking forward to having you all. I'm sorry, Michelle. Um, like it, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications so that you'll know when content is available. Thank y'all so much. Have a great Sunday. I appreciate you all. Michelle, my apologies. You absolutely know I know who you are. Um, Happy Sunday. Everybody have a great week, and we will talk again soon.